What's up, you guys, and welcome to Andy's Playground, and welcome to yet another episode of The Playground. Of course, I'm joined as always by my lovely wife, Sierra, and today, as you guys can probably tell by the way we're dressed, we're going to be talking all about our experiences with Legoland so far.
Woohoo!
And boy, it's been a very, very long time since we've actually caught up with you guys. It's been a little over a month, I think. Last video was all about the Brick or Treat event, which was very successful for Legoland, and it just ended on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're getting ready to roll into this holiday theme that's coming up soon. We're actually probably going to get probably a preview for that as well. I'm just guessing.
Oh, yes. They actually just announced it's going to be next week.
Perfect.
Preview.
So there you have it.
And what's really cool, well, I guess we'll talk about that in a bit.
But there's been a lot of things been going on lately with us. We haven't had a whole lot of time to just kind of sit down, talk about everything, because again, we're both working now pretty heavily again in a theme park capacity, and so it's a lot on us. You know, we're working a lot of the hours a day, and any hours we're not working, we're resting, or we're finally able to do something fun. Tomorrow, actually, we're able to go to Epcot, which is going to be great. It's our first time going back to Epcot since the pandemic. I think actually it's my first time. I think I talked about this. This might be my first time going back to Epcot since Ryan and I set the record on the 3 Caviar ride. I'm pretty sure that's the last time I went to Epcot.
Even I didn't go that day.
Yeah.
It's been even longer for me, and I work at Epcot.
Yeah.
Worked at Epcot, excuse me.
So it's been a minute. And then we're going to Magic Kingdom the next day, which we're also very, very excited for.
Mm-hmm.
So this playground episode is going to run a little bit differently than previous episodes, where we tend to kind of like to kind of share our thoughts and stuff like that. This playground episode, we're hoping to kind of just keep it free flowing. Whoever wants to ask questions and stuff like that, they can jump in. But yeah, you know, it's going to be fun. So first of all, hello, Resort Budgeting. We're always very happy to see you. We're always excited to see you. Great question. We'll actually, because that's actually, you know, what we've been up to and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that works.
I'm going to put this one up on the board here. So, just to kind of explain what happened. So many of you guys saw this on Instagram. I was thinking about even releasing a video about this, but we just either didn't have time, or it's just a lot of, you know, lack of time. Mm-hmm. So what happened to us is, so we got married in March 26th of this year, 2020. And then October 24th, so about 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah, actually.
2.5 weeks or so. We decided to get sealed in my church. In our church. We're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And we have temples all throughout the world. And what we believe is when you're married in a temple, you're sealed for time and all eternity. So we had what was called a sealing. And so that's kind of what happened there in short. And so we literally took one day off of work.
Yeah.
For me, Saturday. I had Saturday off, and you're able to get Sunday off.
Yeah.
But I had to work the next day. So we literally just took that one day. And that one day was really good. I'd say we spent that perfectly.
Yeah. Like, it's okay if I go over like briefly what we did, because that was like the most perfect day, like other than us actually getting married the first time.
Yeah.
But we started out, we kind of made this very Disney theme, and his parents were here, my parents were there, and we had some friends in town. And so we started out going to Fort Wilderness, and we had breakfast at the Whispering Canyon, right? The Whispering Canyon. And then while we were there, our waiter,
nice guy. I can't remember his name.
I think it was Lee.
Lee, that was it.
You're watching Lee somehow, or someone knows you.
Yeah.
No, but Lee was he was super nice. He was a great waiter. But anywho, we were talking about like our plans for dinner, but we didn't really have plans. It was kind of very free flowing. But then he's like, "Oh yeah, I used to work at the boathouse. Like, what do you think of the boathouse?" And it's like, you know, that was one of the places. His mom said that was one of the places they were looking at, but they just couldn't get reservations. And so he's like, I'll get this taken care of for you. So he was helping us out and then texting on the side. And they're just like, we got a reservation set up for you, like 5:30-ish.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, sure. And so after our sailing, we got to go to the boathouse, and they gave
this is
us
at Disney Springs.
yeah, Disney Springs, excuse me, and they gave us it's called the presidential seating, and if you've been out to the balcony, it's outside, kind of where the boats are. You see those boat cars driving by, and it's really cool, really pretty place, and the food was phenomenal.
Absolutely delicious.
Like fresh seafood, the best chocolate cake we've ever had.
It was so big. I had the lobster bisque. I remember that, and I was still full from breakfast, because the Whispering Canyon Cafe, it's kind of like Garden Grill almost, in the sense where they just bring you out whatever you want. Like there's 3 different types of skillets and stuff like that. Some of them have Mickey waffles. Some of them have really just good food. It was just really good stuff, and so it was also great for your money too. And so I was still stuffed from breakfast, so I didn't have too much, but yeah, Boathouse, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Amazing.
It was great. Rod, have you ever been there actually? It's good to see you, by the way, Rod. But yeah, have you been to the Boathouse before? And if so, what was your experience like? Because if there's anyone who knows Disney food, it's Disney Rod.
Oh, for sure.
So, but yeah, so that's probably a good segue. So we were able to have a really good time there. But again, the rest of our time, yeah, good point. We had good service at Whispering Canyon, though. I mean, you can't beat what Lee did for us, though.
Yeah, Lee was just phenomenal.
But yeah. Anyway, so. Oh, perfect.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you're going there this December. That's awesome. Definitely would recommend any of the things there, because they're great. And so, but we're here today to talk about our experience with Legoland. And this is among the first times I think we've both been on camera fully decked out in the Legoland outfit that we typically wear to work. We also have our Legoland name tags here with us,
which we'll talk about much later, because I think this is the coolest part.
Yeah, Sierra's name tag is a lot more decked out than mine and more customized than mine, but it's so much fun being able to have that. But let's just kind of dive into this here a little bit. Sierra's got a good overview for us.
So just want to give you a general overview of Legoland, because it's kind of, honestly, when we first came to Florida and we heard Legoland, we heard it was a theme park, but we were just like, oh, it's not one people usually go to because it's so far away from the bubble, the Orlando bubble, where all the other theme parks are. And so Legoland is kind of I was going to say it's an underdog in a way.
Yeah.
In a way. It's located in Winter Haven, Florida, which is about, let's just say like 45 minutes to an hour from Lake Buena Vista or Claremont area, if you're heading up that way. So it's in Winter Haven. It's owned by Merlin Company, which is another big company, but mostly known throughout Europe. They make a lot of larger theme parks in England. They actually have a huge Legoland in Denmark, Japan, Malaysia, California. So they're pretty big company, and it was really exciting to kind of see what our first steps, which you guys got to follow, of coming to their version of traditions and kind of gain an introduction of the feel of Legoland. So that's kind of just a brief overview of where Legoland is, what it is. It's mostly targeted towards younger kids, between the ages of
4 and 12, I'd say.
4 and 12, around there. And it's a lot of fun for them.
But yeah, and at the same time, one thing I'll say too is a lot of the rides that are geared towards little kids are also available to adults as well. For instance, they have some kiddie coasters and stuff like that, but then they also have some bigger rides too. Mm-hmm. Both of which we're able to work in 2 very different areas. But they have such a good variety of rides. It's like one of the more perfect, like budget-friendly theme parks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's cool. It also has the staple of being Florida's first theme park. And it's really cool because they, it opened like in the 1930s or something around there, where like way back when. as Cypress Gardens. And Cypress Gardens, they eventually decided to get a couple of rides. They also added their ski show, which was very famous. And then they, of course, have gorgeous gardens, which I have yet to see.
I've seen it. It's great. They have this huge banyan tree right in the middle of the gardens, and it's so well preserved, especially for it being that old. This is before Disney World was even thought of. It was Cypress Gardens was the first theme park.
Yeah, before even Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, like it's a cool park, and we're grateful to be a part of it. We're grateful to be a part of any theme park at this point right now because, of course, with Disney letting go so many of their cast members, many of whom are finding a new home at Legoland. Legoland's opening its doors, and they're taking in a lot of those cast members. And so many of my friends that have been coming on as trainees are former cast members as well. So that's just great that they're able to find a job there just like we were.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about kind of the differences. I was going to lead in with that about some of the differences between how Legoland handles things versus how we've seen Disney or Universal handles things, especially now that we've gotten a couple of months, like 2 months under our belt of working at Legoland. Because it is a very different theme park. The first thing immediately that pops out to my mind that's incredibly different, in a good way, is how if you're an attractions model citizen, you're trained in not just one or two rides, but a whole area. I think we might have talked about this before in our past videos, but Sierra and I are both in different areas. She's in Area 2, and I'm in Area 1. Area 1 is the front of the park. So when you walk into Legoland, you'll see the carousel. You'll look to your left, you'll see Mia's Riding Adventure, which is this spinning ride that goes up and it goes down. It's really fun. And then it also has Duplo Valley and the Lego Movie World, as well as an attraction in the castle area.
And also to know, Area 1 is usually the first area of attractions that opens. My area, which is Area 2, maybe has like 1 or 2 attractions that opens when the park opens. The park usually opens at 10 o'clock, and then at 11 o'clock is when all of Area 2 and Area 3 opens.
And as of right now, they've been closing at around 5 o'clock, except they're going to start closing around 6 o'clock and then 7 o'clock, I think, later on in December.
Or actually, they're starting next week.
Oh, yeah.
Because what they're going to do is, because back to the holidays preview that they're going to be doing pretty soon, which, by the way, the preview is just next week, they're going to start having the parks open later, starting like maybe around like 10, 11 o'clock is when they plan on opening, and closing around 7:30, 8 o'clock, just so that way people can experience the Christmas lights there.
Yeah. So it's very different from a work standpoint because there's so much for you to be trained off on. Right now, I've been trained off on all of the rides in my area, and she's been trained off of 3 of the big ones, or 4 of the big ones now.
Yeah. Or I don't know if they're big ones, but I've been trained off of 4 rides.
Yeah, well, 4 rides.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun. But it's cool that there's just so much of variety. If we're talking about other differences, though, I think one of the bigger differences, though, is when it comes to safety and the certain differences that they take with the mask policy.
Yeah.
One of our biggest turnoffs was when we went there. We were like, why are so many people not wearing masks around the park? And we didn't understand. Legoland's mask policy is very different from Disney and Universal. Legoland's policy is you don't have to wear a face mask as long as you're not on the ride or indoors somewhere, which is kind of very tough to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for, implement. Because you'll have guests coming up to us on rides or in ride buildings, and they're not wearing their masks, and you have to say you have to wear your mask, and they're like, well, why can I not wear my mask if I'm on a ride, but I don't have to wear my mask when I'm outdoors, especially because a lot of the rides at Legoland are outdoors.
Yeah. And
so it's like, what's the difference? And the difference is that's what the policy is.
Right. Or even especially because even today, like one of the rides I work at is probably one of the few indoor rides in the park, Ninjago. And like, I mean, they're still guests that come up, and I mean, they're not wearing masks, but I think it's because the company is really trying to enforce, at least attractions cast members, to let guests know, like, you can't ride if you're not wearing a mask, or if you have some special condition and you get a green wristband, meaning that you have medical needs, that you can't wear a mask. But yeah, anytime you're walking around the park, it's not enforced to wear a mask, which is also very different. And also, children, because this is a kids theme park, Disney and Universal, I believe, have it where if you're 2 or older, you have to wear a mask. At least I know that's what it is for Disney right now. Legoland, you have to be 8 years old or older to wear a mask. So I mean, like, there's a lot of little kids you see that don't wear masks, or sometimes say that they're 7.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, they require us to wear masks everywhere.
And face shields.
And face shields.
That's now being enforced too for us.
Yeah. Anywhere that we're interacting with guests closely, we're wearing face shields. And so it's a different mindset. We're also cleaning the rides every hour, almost on the hour. And so it's just a different feel overall. I'm not sure, like, if it's better or for worse. Personally, like, I like having masks just throughout, or at least, if a policy is like that, I would rather it just be all or none.
Yeah.
Just to kind of eliminate the confusion. Yeah.
And I know sometimes it's kind of hard based on also the location of Legoland, because Winter Haven is a county, or Polk County technically. They have lifted the face mask
mandate, unlike Orange County, which
is where Disney and Universal is at. However, because Legoland's still private property, they still enforce masks on certain occasions. But yeah, so that's the only thing that's like kind of different. Especially, I mean, it's different for us because before we've never had the chance to work in a theme park during the pandemic until here at Legoland. Yeah. So it's going to be different than what we're used to and what we're required to do. But overall, I think it's also helping us kind of get used to,
almost like getting back into normality.
Yeah, like normality is going to come soon. Like, this pandemic is not going to be forever. And so it kind of gives us a chance to, like, all right, well, it's okay to get off backstage once in a while. But honestly.
In conclusion, though, about that whole thing, just so that way we can move on from this. Sorry. If you ask me personally if you should wear a mask at Legoland, I would say wear it.
Yeah.
I would say wear it no matter where you go, just because it doesn't just keep you safe, it keeps others safe. There have been many times where I've seen people still getting sick, still having issues and stuff like that. Even, employees and stuff like that, both at Disney, Universal, and elsewhere, because people aren't wearing their masks seriously. And it's not just for, your safety, it's for theirs. And so please, no matter where you go, this is still a pandemic. Please just wear your mask. Mm-hmm. Let's move on. Was there any differences that you wanted to talk about?
Other than the one I wanted to brag about, which is the good differences that I've seen. And it's how you can have, I guess, similar to Disney. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about Universal because, again, I've never been a Universal team member. But Disney and Legoland are very much targeted towards kids. And actually, kind of what Resort Budgeting mentioned about how in the interview something that was required is for us to make up a story using one of the Lego piece characters. And it's just so cool how, coming from when I worked at the parking lot at Disney to now working in an attraction at Disney, how I can interact with the kids more by coming up with stories, or they don't have this now in certain locations, but you could like trade minifigures, just kind of like trading pins at Disney. But one of the things I actually wanted to show off was, so these are our name badges, and it's a brick badge. Andrew will get his in a second. But basically, this actually started off as it's just a red background. Like, here's the magnet, it's just a red background. But it allows us to be the kids as well. We can actually decorate our name badge and make it really cool. We get to play with Legos, build with it, interact with the guests with Legos. And at the resorts especially, that is something that they have a ton of. Like, I actually got to explore one time the regular Legoland resort, not necessarily the Pirate Resort next door.
But the hotel, I should probably
excuse me, the hotel.
Yeah.
But it has a playground, and then there's like a wall, and it's kind of like a tub of Legos. Obviously, kids don't be wearing shoes, I hope, but they get to like actually decorate the walls with Legos, make art, make little figures, and it's just so cool that kids are actively can play there, and they love it.
Yeah. So it's awesome. I mean, I definitely think that the amount of creativity that they encourage at Legoland is really, really fun. Even in my morning meetings right now, this is probably different from what Sierra is going through. They're doing a lot of team building activities, which is really fun. Today we actually did the floor is lava and in the schoolhouse, in the Duplo schoolhouse, and it was a lot of fun. And they had like little prizes and stuff like that scattered throughout. It was just cute. They're definitely like really wanting to, make it more of a family. And so I really like that as well.
That's so cool.
One thing I'll say as well is the standards, like the standard of customer experience is a little different. It's not quite as intense, I would say, as working at Disney, but they love it if you are intense. If you are very committed and very diligent. And that's something I feel like I've been really trying to work on personally, is maintaining my standard of diligence from when I worked at Disney, because people really like that. It's that level of training, that level of dedication that shows you're willing to work, you're wanting to come in and make a difference. And plus, that doesn't make just other people like you or like want to come back. It also makes you feel better as a person. I feel like I get more satisfaction out of like committing back almost into the role of a cast member again, and being able to make someone's day, make some magic or something like that. I did that the other day when I was working Unikitty's Disco Drop, and it was just really, really fun being able to like give someone a fast pass, or they call it a fast track pass, or an awesome pass, because everything is awesome.
It is awesome.
But and to go on another ride. It's just a lot of fun to be able to continue to do that again.
Yeah. And I think what's along with that, like, there's definitely more. Oh, that's funny. I lost my train of thought just by Ron's comment. But I think it's just what's cool is compared to bigger theme parks, because Legoland is such a smaller, not like super small, it's still pretty fairly sized with rides. But you can actually have more of a in-person contact with the guests, which I think is really cool. Like, there are moments where, it doesn't get super busy, but when you get those few guests that come on your ride, you're able to make their day like 100 times better. Yeah. And that's something that I had those experiences with Disney and that commitment level, but I don't think I really had the chance to interact more with guests, unless it was like guests leaving the parking lot in the middle of the day. But it's those moments that make working here a lot more meaningful and worth it.
I think that's awesome. And I mean, it's just nice being able to have that sense of purpose again, for sure. And I mean, if you are a former Disney cast member and you're looking for that, Legoland is higher. But the other downside, and I'll say this is one of the bigger differences, especially if you're near Orlando, Legoland is a trip to get down. We've been listening to audiobooks, podcasts, and just jamming out to music the entire time, because it takes you 40 minutes. And if you've never driven a 40-minute commute before, it is a trip.
Especially driving through 27. There's a ton of stoplights every.
And people who can't drive, it's just very frustrating. But it's been fun in the sense that it's fun to be able to get down there. It's fun to be able to come back. It just takes a while, and it's draining, and I often get really tired, especially after a day's work. We're coming back. By the time we get home, it's already dark now. It's a little bit more challenging. But I'm just grateful to be able to be in this atmosphere. It's just awesome. I want to take a little bit of break from talking about our experiences with Legoland, and I want to answer some more questions from you guys. So that way we don't have a big question build up and stuff like that. So this is kind of like almost like a mid session Q&A almost. So I wanted to go right into Rod's question right here. It jumped out a little bit here. Okay, perfect. Actually, first off,
I like that one.
we'll get to it. What's the price of admission? Actually, we're going to go back to resort pricing.
That's a good point.
So I actually had to look this up. So the price of a single or 2-day standard ticket at Legoland Florida Resort is a single day adult pass is $99 plus tax, and that's steep. However, I feel like Legoland really wants you to stay more than one day, and here's why. Because this 2-day adult admission ticket is $119. So for 20 extra bucks, you get 2 days at the park.
Yeah.
So they're wanting people to stay over, just like kind of how Disney does it. However, it's even more cheaper. But like when
talking about annual passes, though.
But like an annual pass, I'm going to look that up really quick here. Sorry, because that is like I think it's about.
I think it's like about the price of a ticket.
Yeah, almost like the price of a ticket.
Like,
price. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, I was looking it up. Okay, found it.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
You're good to keep on.
Okay. I was just gonna say, other than that, it's fairly reasonable. And I do believe, I'm not sure about the day ticket or 2-day ticket, but also connected to Legoland is the water park, which is something that drives people in, especially pass holders, because if it's a nice day out, they can just go to the water park, which is actually on the back end of the park. Like you have to go through the entire Legoland park to get to the water park. It's a pretty nice water park, if I say so. It's like,
yeah, it's good. It's got a good variety.
Yeah.
Also, I found it out. Sorry, it's $150.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's like,
again, it's it almost makes sense to buy that instead of buying a ticket.
Yeah.
Because then you'll be able to go multiple times a year, especially if you live in Florida and you might want to come maybe 2 or 3 times a year. It's perfect. It'll pay off on your third visit.
Yeah, and honestly, like even if you're not sure, like you're like, oh, it's for kids, like you can bring family, you can enjoy it, and there are some things for adults, and there's some really cool like artifacts there that they build with Legos that you're kind of just like, wow, they built that. And
Miniland alone is something I would pay money to see. It's super, super cool. We showed it briefly in one of my videos when we first went to Legoland. I could literally spend all day there. And one day, whenever I get a day off where the park is open, I want to be able to go down and just explore Miniland and see, like, just look at it more, because there's an exhibit that shows the skyline of Manhattan, New York, Las Vegas, San Francisco, loads of cool places. It's just really cool. I want to explore it more. But great question.
Also, kind of just like while we're talking about like admissions, and I thought I can also talk about like when the park opens, because as you mentioned, it's like our days off are usually when the park is closed, or they're called dark days, and it's usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays, especially during like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, sometimes Thursdays if it's like the non-busy season. But if any of you are looking into like checking out Legoland or wanting to go visit the park, definitely check out the website first, just to make sure you're not traveling all the way there and find out it's closed.
I'll also say, if you want to go to Legoland, go on a weekday.
Yes.
Because the park is dead.
It's 5-minute waits for all rides.
Everything.
Like you can do everything as many times as you want.
Yeah. Some rides might let you ride again. So I work one of the bigger ticket rides that we'll be talking about later. I work Masters of Flight, which is kind of their version of Soarin' / Flight of Passage, where it's a 3-story building. However, all the gondolas are like Soarin', where you sit on the gondola, and then when the ride starts, it turns you towards the screen. And it's super, super fun. I really like that one. Mm-hmm. It was like a 5-minute wait all day today. Like, again, this is a ride where during the weekends, it's typically at like, they have a virtual queue set up because they don't want to make the line super big, because they don't safe distancing and stuff like that. And it's been like 180-minute wait, like a 3-hour wait for that ride, or it's just crazy on the weekends. So come on a weekday, because that's going to be way more fun. I'm actually going to make a video about this. I want to make a video kind of detailing how I would personally do Legoland, like the ultimate guide to how to do Legoland right. Because I feel like the more I'm understanding how Legoland works, the more I'm like, hey, this is actually good advice, especially right now during the pandemic, especially if you've never been to Legoland or even heard of Legoland. There's not a heck of a lot of good up-to-date material out there that I've seen. When I was looking it up, when I was interviewing out there, like the most up-to-date thing I think I saw was either Prince Charming Dev's video on when he went back to Legoland and just showing everything around there, or it was just this video at the very beginning of the year before the pandemic hit of what to see and what to do. Very different right now. So I want to definitely check that out. All right, let's move on to Disney Rod's question. What's your favorite attraction at Legoland?
Okay. Mine.
I want to do to work and to ride. So.
Okay. To work, it definitely would have to be Ninjago. It's to kind of describe Ninjago. Someone else kind of described it as like Buzz Lightyear without the guns, basically. But you are on this ride. It's a 3D ride. It has different screens on there, and you are playing ninjas in Ninjago.
Literally, like ninja.
Yeah. And so the lap bar comes down, and there's a motion sensor here, and you get your ninja hands ready, and you're going to like shoot the bad guys like this. And what's really cool is that the motion sensor senses whichever color you're sitting at and shoots it out on the screen.
Like a little fireball or something.
Yeah. And then you shoot at the bad guys, and the many times you shoot, you get points for it. And so, okay, the first time.
It was a great first time.
Yeah, first time I played it, it did not work for me. And then after.
I got 200,000 points on my first try.
Anywho, but afterwards, because I was trained on that ride and I was tested so many times, we were actually able to test the ride if it was ever down before we allowed it to open for guests. And after trying it a few times, I finally got the hang of it. I realized I was too close to the sensor. You have to go a little bit higher and then shoot. But yeah, I love working that ride. But as for favorite ride to go on,
to ride, yeah.
To ride. Oh, that one's a really tough one. Okay. It's actually tied with Ninjago and Dragon. Masters of Flight. That's a good one too. Okay, no, I'm going to have to say Dragon's final answer. Just because Dragon, it's a really cute kiddie roller coaster where it has, you go, it's not
like a dark ride.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dark ride. You don't go straight into the roller coaster yet. You actually get to see all these different animatronics, including, of course, a dragon. And then you get to enjoy the roller coaster part at the end, and then that's the ride. But it's a cute classic ride. It's actually been around for Legoland for a long time. I believe it's the one ride that's like at every Legoland park all around the world. So I think that's probably one of my favorites.
That's awesome. So for me to work, it's going to be a combination of I really love working Mia's riding adventure. It's the one spinning ride I was talking about where you're sitting on a horse, kind of like you're straddling it, and then it'll spin, and while it's spinning, it'll go up, and then it'll go down, and then it goes up the other way. It's a lot of fun. That's one of my favorite ones to ride as well. The other one I love working though is Masters of Flight. I worked it today, and it's just such a lot of fun because it makes you feel like you're working a big ride, and it is a big ride. It's so much fun to work that ride because it's the one that a lot of people want to go ride. It's very popular. Almost everyone loves it when they come off of it. I just love that kind of satisfaction that you're doing something really cool. And also, it's a very complex ride. There's a lot of things you got to do to make it work, and you can't really just train it in one day. In fact, it actually takes you 16 hours of training just to get that one passed off. And so that was a lot of fun. I also love riding that one as well. But I think, again, I'm going to have to go with the Dragon. The Dragon's a lot of fun. It's a really cute ride. I only gotten to ride it once, but that was enough for me to really love that ride. So great question. I just want to address this. So we were talking about areas and work areas. So There's only 3 areas, actually. There's area 1, 2, and 3. So area 1, again, it's the front of the park. It's the carousel that you see there. There's Mia's Riding Adventure to the left. And you'll have Duplo Valley and then the Lego Movie World. And then a little bit of the castle. And then area 2 will take over with the castle. And
castle. And then you go to Lost Kingdom, which is another Buzz Lightyear ride, except you're in Pharaoh's tomb and you're shooting at.
That's in their Land of Adventure.
Oh, yes, Land of Adventure.
Also known as Adventureland. Yes.
Then behind it, we have the Safari Trek. There's some interest. If you're ever at Safari Trek, just stand next to the parrots. You'll see there's a lot of similarities there. And now moving on, then you go to Coastosaurus, which is a dinosaur type ride.
Wooden roller coaster.
Wooden roller coaster, yes. But it's still not dinosaur like Disney World's dinosaur.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm like, a dinosaur ride.
Yeah, no. But it's based on dinosaurs. But it's a wooden roller coaster. I work that too. And it's a lot of fun. It's super intense. For me personally, it's a lot of people think it's like the best ride ever. And then you go back, and Ninjago is the last part of area 2. And then area 3, it goes to Lego City, which is like the boating school, driving school, where kids can get their own driving license, flying school. There's like these aqua zone things where they're riding like this jet ski, and there's fire truck training school where they drive fire trucks. There's a lot of stuff. But it's fun. Like, the kids love it. It's something really cute for them.
Yeah. So, great questions again. I'm going through here. What's worse, a floor full of lava or a floor full of Legos?
I think Legos.
Legos.
Depends. Are you wearing shoes or not wearing shoes?
Seriously. Even if you're wearing shoes, sometimes it hurts.
I know. Yeah.
We just got some more Lego sets, so I'm looking forward to stepping more on Legos. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Let's see. Do they have an area of the park to show the history of Legos like a museum? You know what? I feel like that needs to be a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think there is, but Miniland is probably the closest thing you're going to get. All sprinkled out throughout the park. They have random fun facts about Legos. They have some Masters of Flight, too. They talked about like how Duplo was brought in the 1960s. They talked about how if you stacked certain like amount of blocks, like I think like 1 billion blocks or whatever, you would wrap around the Earth, so many times and stuff like that. Yeah. Stuff like that.
There's also the Imagination Zone too.
Yes, where you could be a little bit more creative and stuff like that with Legos.
Yeah, that's more the creative side, and that's actually where kids can actually play with the Legos. And it also though has some facts like outside of the Imagination Zone area, they have a giraffe or an Einstein, and they give a fun fact like it took 360 hours to make this giraffe.
Yeah,
and it's a huge giraffe, and it's part of the building actually.
But yeah, Rachel, who's your bestie? We'd love to know. We might know him. I've gotten to know a lot of people from Legoland. It's been fun. Where is the Lego factory located? The Lego factory is located actually right next to the carousel. Wait, you're thinking of
like the original, where the Lego,
like the big one, like where they make Legos and stuff like that. There's a Lego factory shop. I'll say that. There's a bunch of shops figured out. There's the big shop, which is currently open. That's right when you enter the park. That's like the emporium basically for a Legoland. And then there's also the Lego factory, which is where you can get specific types of Legos and stuff like that. That's located right next to the carousel.
Specific pieces.
Yeah. Good question. Do they allow you to go to other Maryland parks?
Yes, actually. So, fun fact, Merlin actually owns, if you've ever been to Icon Park over in Orlando, it's kind of as if you're heading towards Universal. You see like this huge Ferris wheel and kind of like slingshot and other stuff. So that's Icon Park. Merlin also owns the
Madame Tussauds.
What's it called again?
Madame Tussauds.
Madame Tussauds, which is a wax museum, and also owns Sea Life Park, which is an aquarium of sort. And it's all in Icon Park. They don't own the Ferris wheel or anything, but with our passes, we can actually go into those areas for free. But as for other Merlin parks, you actually can. You can go international
And they actually do help with encouraging like working and transferring to different locations and stuff like that. They're opening a Legoland soon in New York, and by soon I mean like in a year or two, maybe more. And then they have one, of course, in California. They have a bunch all over the world. Another parks and stuff like that too. Another big Merlin-owned theme park that you guys might know of is called Alton Towers. That's in England, and it's one of the older theme parks in England, but it's got a lot of very famous rides and a lot of cool stuff to see there too. Do they have a meal plan? I don't think so. And here's why, because as of right now, there's only 3 eating areas open in Legoland. There's the Dragon's Den, which is right next to the Dragon. It's a hot dog place that also has turkey legs and stuff like that too. And then there's Burger Kitchen, which is kind of over by Ninjago. And that is an area where you can get burgers, your typical stuff. And then there's Chicken. Is that what it's called?
Are you talking about the place by the firehouse?
Yes.
Oh.
I think it's Chicken.
Basically, it has chicken, milkshakes, all that stuff.
Kind of almost like a diner.
There is, though, at the resorts, they have a buffet there. Yeah. I'm not super familiar with that, though.
Oh, it's the Pizza Pasta Buffet. It's right next to the carousel, and that's not open right now.
No. At the resorts, though, they have a buffet,
yes,
too.
That's true. That is open right now.
Yeah, and that's people can go to as well.
Yes. Again, it's not open 7 days a week, unlike Disney and Universal. It's only typically open 5 or sometimes even 4, but it will be open 7 days a week towards the holiday season.
Yeah, especially on Thanksgiving week, which is next week. It'll be open all 7 days, and also on Christmas week.
And the week after.
Yeah, I think Christmas week all the way down to once it hits New Year's, it's going to be open 7 days a week.
Yeah. Because the thing is, Legoland is not a busy park, as busy as Disney and Universal. When I mean like it is busy on the weekends, I mean there's probably about 6,000 people in the park, which is busy. That was record for Halloween. But like today, there were maybe 300 people in the park, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Maybe less than 1,000. Maybe probably less than that. But
yeah, Mondays are kind of slow days because of course people are in school, and again it's out of the way compared to other places. If
you contrast that with Hollywood Studios, where a normal park day is 36,000 people, it's a lot different. But again, the park is smaller. The park is located in a very rural location, so you're not going to get as many people. So that's why they don't open 7 days a week. We answered this a little bit earlier, but are the ticket prices at at Legoland cheaper than Disney or Universal? Actually, they're about the same. However, they give you a better deal if you just choose to buy an annual pass or choose to stay multiple days. If you choose to stay multiple days, you'll make your money up very quickly.
Yeah. Very, very quickly.
Let's see if there's any more good stuff here. I love the quote through Pete's Dragon. That's really cool. Let's see here. Oh, David Fisher. Hang on, first person.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I know that guy.
We'll have to look him up.
Yeah, we'll look him up and we'll see where he's at. We'll hunt him down just for you. I'll say hi. Do you get discounts at the Lego store at Disney Springs? Good question. As of right now, no. What I've heard, though, is that the Lego company is buying Merlin. And when that happens, then we'll all get Lego badges and not Merlin badges. And when that happens, then we'll be able to get the discounts at the Disney Springs if we're still a part of the company by then, which if it's true, it might happen sooner or later. Let's see here.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that either. I don't know if that's happening or not.
Coaster park. I heard Merlin is one with roller coasters, though.
Yeah. The thing is, there's a ton of already stuff in Orlando that already is driving a lot of attention that way. There's Universal, there's Disney, there's also SeaWorld. Then there's the Fun Spot, something like that, which is also another little theme park over there, amusement park thing. There's a lot in that area in Orlando, and I feel like the market in Orlando is kind of being oversaturated with theme parks. So if they try to build something else in that area, I don't think it'll be too successful, especially because Universal's building yet another theme park over there, or yet another land.
Epic Universe.
It's not. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's see here. Because of Lego movies, do you see more things from those movies in the parks?
Yeah.
Great question.
I think you should answer that.
Yes, I work in an area called the Lego Movie World. That's one of my 4 areas. There are 3 attractions over there. There's Unikitty's Disco Drop, which is kind of like a drop tower with a randomized drop sequence. However, it's not really random anymore. It's pretty much programmed to drop you a certain amount of time. There's Masters of Flight, which is their soar and flight of passage ride. That's one of my favorite ones. We've already talked about that one. And then there's Battle of Bricksburg, which used to be the Valley of Chimo ride or whatever it was. And it's basically what it is you get on this boat, and there's 8 guns, or 6 if you're on a
water guns.
Sorry, 8. Yeah, water guns. And they're kind of like pump activated, so you have to like just pump the water, and it squirts out. You can either spray guests, or you can spray the Duplo that are attacking the city. Most of the area is themed around the second Lego movie. You see a lot of characters from the second Lego movie, like Rex. I'm gonna butcher the last name, like Vesterman or something like that. So if you want to go in and you're kind of like wondering why the heck the Duplo are attacking area, because that's going to be happening on Masters of Flight and Battle of Bricksburg, you're going to need to probably watch the second Lego movie, or at least watch the first Lego movie all the way till the end. Spoiler alert: the Duplo start attacking at the end. But they're cute movies too. We just rewatched. I rewatched. You watched the first time the second Lego movie. What did you think of that one?
I honestly like that one a lot better than the first Lego movie. Just because I like the message, and it kind of caught me by surprise of who was the bad guy. But other than that, I think it's a really great movie, and it makes me appreciate some of the characters, like the Duplo characters. I think are just adorable, and there's just a lot of really cute characters in there. But as we were talking about other movies, apparently also, if you go over to Costosaurus, which is again further into the park, and the bathrooms that are right next to Costosaurus, on the bathroom stalls is actually the Lego figures for Jurassic World.
Yeah. Yeah,
which is very interesting. Yeah. And so, but also like the Raptors and stuff, and the Lego Movie 2 is also you'll find them in Costosaurus. But yeah.
This one kind of dovetails with this one, but do you think that Legoland became more popular because of Lego movies? 100%. 100%. And here's why. Because with the Lego movies, they're able to have another property that's relevant, that people are very interested in. When you think of the Lego company, you think of the bricks, but you don't really necessarily think of the characters that you can build something with. One of the things that Disney has the advantage of is that whenever they release a new property, that's a new IP that they can do something with. For instance, Moana. They can put in the Moana attraction, which they've already done many places.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's already been open. Or Ratatouille. Or with Ratatouille, they're putting in the Ratatouille attraction right now in France. Like they can do so much more stuff with it because it's relevant. It's happening. It's now. Lego has been around for decades. And the properties that they use in their parks are very non-IP based. Like they have like this, like for instance, during Brick or Treat, a lot of their characters were very generic. They had this mummy character. They had a Count Dracula character. They had all these different, very non-IP based things, and they would literally just very generic characters. And like you could be like, oh look, there's Emmett, there's so and so, there's Mickey over there. Like you to have the Lego movies means you were able to have more characters in your park that people would be like, oh look, there's Unikitty, there's Emmett, there's there's Batman, but like you're able to bring a lot more relatability and a lot more popularity to it. It's kind of like what Sesame Street was able to do with SeaWorld. When they were able to bring in their Sesame Street area, that definitely I think boosted a lot of the popularity of SeaWorld. I want to go there because I want to see Sesame Street. And that has nothing to do with SeaWorld. So the Lego movie being able to be tied in with the Lego universe, I think that definitely does boost the popularity of Legoland. Very good question. What rides do we run? So why don't we just go down the list of everything that's in our areas?
Oh yeah. Okay.
You might not be trained off on all of them yet, but I'll just do mine.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the carousel. There's Mia's Riding Adventure. There's the Duplo tractor, which is this, very kiddie ride that goes around in a circle. It's a tractor ride. There's the Duplo train, which is a little bit longer of a track, but it's pretty much the same thing. Then there's Battle of Bricksburg, Masters of Flight, and Unikitty's Disco Drop, which are all located in Lego Movie World. And then there's Merlin's Challenge, which is what they call it is a caterpillar ride, but it's basically one of those like train rides that kind of goes around in a circle. It's a lot of fun, and it goes really fast. Mm-hmm. I rode it one time, and I was literally like
you feel like you're gonna fly off your seatbelt in. But.
What they do is whenever you have an adult and a little child with you, they have the child sit on the inside, so that way the adult isn't killing this kid with the force of gravity because it goes that fast.
I just picture kids trying to fly off the ride.
But those are the rides that I've been trained off on and that I also operate. So
Area 2 is the one with the most roller coasters and bigger, more complex rides. And that's actually why, I've only been trained on 4 rides. And you get, a month of training, basically. But it's because it takes so many hours to train those rides. So, basically, there is the Dragon. There is... which I don't have. Royal Joust is another one. That one's actually really fun. It's basically kids between the ages of 4 and 12, and there's all certain height restrictions. They're riding this little horse that has a little joust on it, and it's just like they're riding this little pony hopping around, and then there's random Lego animatronics that they're actually hitting with the poles and interacting with the kids as they go around. And okay, and then moving up, we have Safari Trek, which is also another one I have. It's kind of very similar to Joust, except it's like kids are riding in a Barbie-like safari car, and they actually are driving around these animatronic Lego figures. Some are animatronic, some aren't. Mm-hmm. Like you have an elephant that sprays water, you have a hippo that opens its mouth, and you see meerkats, giraffes, all this stuff. And basically, it's just the kids driving in it. And then you're going to go over, you're going to hit Coastosaurus, which is the one roller coaster I worked at as well. And then you get, I almost forgot, Lost Kingdom, mm-hmm. which is the Buzz Lightyear ride. And then you go to, so then it was Coaster, and then Ninjago was the last one. And that one's the one I work as well.
Yeah. So a good variety.
I forgot one.
What's wrong?
Beetle Bounce, which is basically like Unikitty, except it's very smaller than Unikitty, and it just has little bounce drops.
Going on to Michelle's question, what is this Merlin company? So the Merlin company is almost like Disney, where Disney is the parent company of each of the theme parks that are built around the world. There's Disneyland, Disney World, Tokyo Disney, Disney Sea, all this different stuff. But Disney is the one that owns those parks, except for in the case of Tokyo Disney, because I think that's owned by a different company. But we get all the revenues from it, so they have all our IPs and stuff. Yeah. But Merlin is the one that owns Legoland, as of right now, and they're a parent company that doesn't own just Legoland. They own also the properties that are located in Europe and other countries and stuff like that too. So it's a very wide, overreaching company. And there, like I said before, there's rumors that Lego might buy it back because Lego had to sell a lot of their property to Merlin when they were struggling financially. But now that they're doing really good financially, they might be able to buy it back. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I
like this next question.
Let me see here. You want to take it?
Yeah. So with like as mentioned before, usually all the rides are a 5-minute wait. So if there's people not in line, and let's say Coastosaurus gets back, and we usually ask them, it's do you want to go again? And some of them say yes, some of them say no. Those that say yes, they can stay on the same seat, or sometimes we'll just move them to the back row, so that way we can get more guests on. But then afterwards, once they say they want to go again, we just call it clear and we let them go again. Same with Ninjago as well. Also just depends where they are. If they're in the front row and there's already guests in line for the front row, then we just move them to the back. But most, like, if it's not busy at all, you can honestly ride the rides as many times as you want.
Which is why we say go on a weekday, not a weekend. On a weekend, that line might be a 45-minute wait. Or like a 45-minute wait, even on a virtual queue, 45-minute wait, which could be even longer. So overall, go on a weekday. And that's important. Also, one thing I want to point out, Legoland doesn't have physical maps. They don't really do those things unless it's during a holiday season.
They do if you have the Legoland app. So I would say.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have the physical maps.
Oh, like physical
like
maps.
Paper,
Gotcha.
plastic maps.
Yeah.
They don't have any of those. I think they might be just because of a COVID thing, but they don't have any of those things. So if you want to know where you're going, you need to get the Legoland app on your phone. And I think it's part of like the technology thing today. It's also a cost saving kind of thing. But the only time they'll have a physical map out is if there's a special event thing, and they want to show you exactly where
all the candy stations are, like for Burger Tree.
Like that's what we showed you, guys, during the Burger Tree video, was that map that showed where things were located, so that way you can be able to enjoy it and have fun. But that was essentially what that was. It's a good question. Do you know what ride you're going to be at each day, or do you find out when you get to work? I'll let you take it.
I think it really depends. Because there's sometimes on our schedule where it just says our specific area, like it can have it has like a general name instead of just being area 1, area 2. It can be like area 2, like Castle / Lost Kingdom Adventure, LKA. But so it'll give you up to that sometimes, and if it just has its time and just says that generic, it probably means that you're training on a new ride or you're an extra and they're going to put you wherever they want. But usually it gives you where you're going to be riding. So like for all those times, like they usually will say like, okay, you're going to be in Ninjago like this week. Maybe you'll have one safari shift and maybe I'll have a coaster shift. But usually for me, it says where we're going to be and what time we're going to be there.
And for me, it's kind of like that too. However, sometimes you get to work, and even though it says you're working somewhere, it might throw you somewhere else. And that happens.
That does.
I think overall, though, if you're working Carousel, it'll say Carousel. If you're working Masters of Flight, it'll say Masters of Flight, or Lego Movie World, or LMW for Lego Movie World. Stuff like that. So it really does depend. Yeah. Last question, and then we'll kind of go back more and kind of start tying up our own little segment as well. Are they doing Christmas shows like they did for Halloween?
I actually have seen entertainment come out of rehearsal. Kind of close to where I clock and punch in for work. I just see entertainment going out. So I'm guessing they are working on doing some Christmas shows. We will find out in the MC preview next week. So we'll be able to give more details about that. Though I do know for sure something really cute that they're doing is kids can actually send letters to Santa Claus. And so I'm not sure where this is going to be at. We'll find more in detail, but that's something to stay tuned for. Yeah. We got little ones.
And I think overall, like they're it's going to be kind of like Brick or Treat, where they're going to have cool stuff and situated throughout the park. I've already brought out a huge Christmas tree that's at the front of the park.
Oh yeah.
And it's super, super cool. We actually got to see that thing being built. And again, that's one of the cool things too, is that it is made out of Legos. It really is made out of Legos. And how they build it is super, super, super cool. It's kind of like what they do with Disney Springs and the models of Disney Springs, where there's a lot that's made out of Legos, but they also have steel beams to make sure that it's not going to break apart by, hurricane winds or something like that. And so it's like, it's like, it's super cool to be able to look at it and analyze it and that's actually real Legos. Like those are cool. But yeah, really, really cool. So most likely that's what they'll be doing. We're going to take a break again. We're going to kind of go back into our notes a little bit just to make sure we hit everything. One of the things we want to talk about is what we are looking forward to doing with Legoland. One of the things that we've both done previously is we've actually now have applied to be trainers at Legoland. I applied and I got interviewed last week to be a trainer, which is very exciting. And Sierra applied. We're still waiting to hear back on it, but we might be finding out this week what the results of that were. It would be cool to become a trainer, especially after being here for just a couple months. They're overhauling their entire training program because they are trying to bring back a lot more people. They're hiring a ton right now at Legoland because for a variety of reasons, they're trying to get their company back rolling, and it's just really, really exciting to be a part of the whole process. So that's something I'm personally looking forward to with Legoland.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the same thing for me, is kind of just seeing like where you can go from here, because Legoland is definitely a very, I want to say, like, it's kind of not as competitive as it was with Disney. You can definitely get more, if you want to get more experiences here, like, you don't have to jump through a lot of hoops to get there. It's very easy, and also, but also, like, I mean, work hard, you put in the time, put in the effort, like, you can go a lot further and faster than I feel like it would be for Disney.
Yeah.
But that's just only from previous experience there, and because it is a smaller company there,
right,
you'll get to know everyone.
I will say, like, at the time too, you have to understand too that Legoland doesn't pay as much as Disney. That's just a fact of the matter, or Universal or SeaWorld. They pay significantly cheaper so they can afford to bring on more people as well. The turnover ratio is decently high for Legoland as well too, because for a lot of people this is their first job. For a lot of people this is something that this is something that they want to do temporarily, and then they'll go somewhere else. I would say like half of the people I've talked to in my area, maybe even more than that, aren't really using Legoland for a long-term goal. This is more of a thing that they're just doing while they're going through school, because it's helpful because they can rearrange their schedule to be more part-time, so that way they only work weekends. Same thing with high schoolers. Same concept there. And so it's one of those things where it's different in that aspect. So moving up for us, though it might be quick, it might not still be paying as much as what we were getting at Disney. And so for us, I think for me personally, it would be nice to gain more and more experience, so that way whenever Disney starts calling again, that we'll be able to come back, possibly into a higher role, possibly into a higher position, because that would be very helpful for us. And also we would just love to be able to come back and prove that we still got what we have. I mean, I still have memorized my entire Muppet Vision 3D theater entrance and spiels and stuff like that. Like, I still have all that stuff still shocked in my memory. But yeah, so that's kind of the goal. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about for Legoland, or should we finish that off with some questions?
I guess if there's any last minute questions that you may have about just kind of what Legoland is, what we're doing, and
anything about us in general. We've been gone a month, so we're very happy to be back. We're happy that we're able to bring some knowledge that we've gained from Legoland with us, so that way we're able to help out if you guys ever have any questions about it. And if you guys have any questions about either what we do with Legoland, or where we've been, what we've been up to, or if you guys have been following along with my weekly Sunday quizzes and have gotten really annoyed at me for my last quiz, please let me know.
Put that in the comments too.
Yes, please do roast me.
We can fix that.
I will say one thing. So I feel like a lot of you guys who follow me on here follow me on my Instagram and have participated in my quiz and stuff like that. I almost kind of want to defend myself here. I make these things purposely hard. They're hard for a reason. They're next to impossible though sometimes, and like I feel like I feel bad. I feel really bad, especially on this last one. As far as I know, I might want to go over the answers again, but no one got them all right on my last Tomorrowland quiz, and I felt so bad because I'm like, I designed them like this, but like, it's not my goal to try to make people miserable. It's not my goal to try to throw people down the drain like you don't know Disney. I try to make them hard and challenging because I've seen too many and experienced too many easy quizzes where it's like, what is when did Magic Kingdom open? Like stuff that most people should know, or most people would know.
I don't like the dates questions though.
That's fair. I'm going to cut back.
Have to be history buff.
We're heading to Epcot this Sunday, so if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, please do. We're having them every week. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to make because I learn something every single time I make them. The coolest one I think I learned so far was when I was doing Hollywood Studios. One of my questions was what movies were made at the animation studio.
Oh yeah.
I looked into it, and there were so many cool movies that were made, or even just segments of movies that were made, animated movies. Like, for instance, my favorite fun fact about the Florida satellite animation studio was that the Be Our Guest segment from Beauty and the Beast, the animated Beauty and the Beast, was made there. And I feel like that was super, super cool. And so that one might come up on a quiz later on. I really think that's such a cool thing to know. Because that you can go inside the park and, like, literally, if you look over in the Toy Story Land, you can look at the building where Mulan was made, where Brother Bear was made, where Lilo and Stitch was created. Like, it's super, super cool. Anyway, I can gush about it forever. I'm sorry if you guys are struggling with the quizzes. I just love making them. And like Rod says, the harder the quiz, the more fun it is for many people. But I promise you, Epcot will be easier. It's going to be a lot easier. And I'm excited to get into Epcot. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm excited to go to Epcot.
Yeah, we're going tomorrow. We're making a couple things our goals for tomorrow. My personal goal is I want to do Living with the Land. That's a must.
You got to do all the rides.
I know, but these are the goals. Living with the Land, number one. Number two would be the American Adventure. I really love frickin' just jamming out to Golden Dream. I found out there's an acapella version, a male acapella version of Golden Dream that gratuitous Disney, or someone, it was either Weird Disney News or someone put it on their Instagram, and I was just like, I can't believe this exists, and yet at the same time, I'm so glad this exists. Like, it's just super, super epic. Anyway, and then of course Spaceship Earth, Imagination with Figment.
I want to do Mission Space.
Mission Space?
Yeah.
Orange?
Yes.
Sounds good.
We're watching
oh gosh.
the new
if you guys want to watch a freaking great show,
The Right Stuff.
The Right Stuff on Disney Plus is a phenomenal show to watch. I can't, especially we just had the rocket launch yesterday.
And earlier that week too, that we saw afterward.
Yeah.
You probably saw on my Instagram if you follow me. Like, yeah, it was phenomenal. It was so cool. Yeah.
But go watch The Right Stuff. It's absolutely incredible, especially if you're in the mood for some classic history. Check it out. It's just so much fun. But yeah. So let's answer some questions because there's been a lot of good questions that you guys have asked since then. Let me just see here. So basically, resort budgeting is asking basically kind of how we get to work. So this is a really good question. Do you walk in the park when you go to the station, or do they have like a cast member entrance? No utilidors. That's fun. I had to figure that word out. But yeah, no utilidors. No, utilidors aren't a thing at Legoland or really any other theme park.
Can I actually talk about this one just partially of it?
I need to get some water anyway.
So actually, with this, a lot of cast members, you actually walk on stage for the most part. Maybe like partially backstage because there's kind of like really only one. There's like maybe two sides of the backstage and the park's like in the middle. So you kind of like just walk on one side and then you go on stage. And then like there's a middle section that's backstage too. But for the most part, what actually surprised me is with Disney, I was so used to, leaving all my stuff and then going. But a lot of people here, they actually like, bring their water bottles, bring their bags, like they maybe have hand sanitizer or other things. You can actually bring them with you. So I see a lot of cast members going with their backpacks.
Like to the ride.
Yeah, to the ride. And that's actually allowed because they can leave it a special spot and everything. Yeah, so that was something that was very new to me. But you do walk a lot on stage, and so yeah, that was. And
I will say the process is different though. So with Disney, what you would do is you would come in. Let's say like I had my backpack and going into work in Hollywood Studios. You would go to the cast member parking area in Hollywood Studios. which is kind of behind the Muppet Vision area, almost kind of by Star Tours, right behind Star Tours. That's where it is. And then you'd go through this building, which is also the costuming area for Hollywood Studios. You'd walk through these scissor gates. You'd scan your ID, which would allow you to walk through the scissor gates. Then you'd walk backstage, which is always super, super cool. I loved going backstage. And then you'd walk up on stage, and then you kind of make a beeline to your nearest break room. Hopefully guests don't stop you because, again, you have all your stuff with you. It doesn't look very professional. Once you get there, they have these professional lockers that have like a 4-key code thing where you can put in your stuff there.
Wow.
That's what they had for us. It was a nice...
We put our stuff in a drawer.
I mean, whenever we were to Muppets, though, like Muppets' area, they just had hooks. They had hooks, and they also had a locker as well.
Okay.
But that's what you would do. And then you would clock in. That's what you do. Here, so as you're driving in, you have to scan your badge to get into the employee parking lot. And then once you get there, you park, you grab your bags, and then you go to the security checkpoint area. There you tap your badge to the wall of the security thing, which I still don't know what it does. I guess it registers that you're inside the park, or at least that you're backstage somewhere. You have to tap it when you're entering and exiting. And then you open your bags so that the security can look inside of them. Just make sure that you're not trying to smuggle anything into it, which is
kind of similar to what Disney does, where they do bag checks.
Yeah.
Not as
not as an employee either. And then
as an employee, they do it.
Not for us at Hollywood.
Parking lot, they did.
There you go. So it's a little bit different. So the process is a little bit different, but that's kind of what it is. Okay. Is there a resort or hotel near there?
Yep.
Good question. There's 3.
3?
Yes. There's the beach area, which
the
is
beach retreat?
The beach retreat, which is across the street from Legoland. And then there's the 2 hotels that are right next to the park. There's the Legoland Hotel itself, and then there's the Pirate Hotel, which is right next to it.
Yeah.
It's a good question. I want to explore them more, for sure. Do they have specialized maintenance shops?
Yeah. So actually, fun fact, what I learned, I talked with one of the maintenance guys, and so they have maintenance that actually works on the rides themselves. But then there's also the people from the model shop that works on the Legos, and like animatronics. So let's say, for example, in Safari Trek, if the elephant wasn't going, that actually would be something that the model shop will check. Anything regarding the ride and tracks, that would all be maintenance. But they actually make really good money from what I hear. Like $20 an hour, $24.
Depending on the person, but yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, they do have a lot of different maintenance positions there. I think that's really about it for maintenance jobs.
They also have this thing called Lego Base. Lego Base is kind of like the head operations. What you're instructed to do is whenever you have downtime or you have an issue with your ride, you contact Lego Base. It's kind of almost like an operator system where you call Lego Base, hey, Lego Base, we're having an issue where a guest is stuck on the ride. Can we get maintenance out here? And then they'll contact maintenance. And they might also contact your area leader, and they'll have them come out and contact you as well. So it's stuff like that. Michelle asked, since you work at Legoland, do you automatically have the annual pass or do you have to get that separately? So we have the employee pass, which works the same as an annual pass, except we get in and we don't have to pay for it, obviously, automatically. It also works for their water park, which we have yet to also really enjoy.
Yeah.
We've gotten to enjoy the wave pool at least a little bit.
Yeah. What's really cool also about Legoland is they're able to do company-wide events too. So the reason we got to go to the water park, and it was on an off day, a dark day where the park wasn't open to guests, was we had an Olympic event. And so they were able to get all right, everyone from the resort team, food and beverage team, attractions, and whoever wanted to be there, they all can come together and they can all be a part of this event. And it's very cool. It's so easy to become a family there because of these events that they put together for us. And it's, again, a smaller scale compared to the bigger theme parks, so they're able to pull this off.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, we're excited to be able to use those more. We also have punch cards that we can get other people in, and it runs system kind of very similar to Disney. So it's nice. Do they maintenance rides at night or in the morning? All the above, depending on the situation. I will say recently there's been like a wasp. I don't want to say infestation, but like a wasp nest was like sighted at Unikitty's Disco Drop by a couple guests. And I ended up actually riding it one day too. And I was just like, wow, yeah, there's stuff up here. And I was talking with maintenance about it. He's like, yeah, no, we can't get in there because it's a drop tower. We can't get up there if guests are in here right now because we can't get a lift in here. We'd have to be able to do all this stuff with it. And so I'm like, okay, are you going to get it tomorrow or when? And so typically they do it whenever some stuff is.
Yeah. Usually though they come in like 5 in the morning because I know for like bigger rides like Coaster Source and Ninjago where they're checking the ride, they always do like a maintenance check like early morning before the park opens, and then maintenance turns on the ride, and then we actually test the ride.
So, but yeah, I'm just looking at some more comments about the quizzes and stuff like that. Like I said, when Rod said the harder the quiz, the more fun it is. Michelle brought up a good point. She says, I don't know the history of the parks, and like most people, so what's the time I could answer is wrong. But when I do, I get to learn the actual history. I mean, that's largely the point of why I like to do it, because it's cool. It's cool to learn stuff. We actually had a hot topic discussion on this last quiz. I'll just talk about briefly, where one of the things I asked was, what is the oldest ride in Tomorrowland? And out of the multiple choice questions, I put the Tomorrowland Speedway and Carousel of Progress. The correct answer was the Tomorrowland Speedway because back when Tomorrowland opened, it opened with 2 rides, the Skyway to Fantasyland and the Grand Prix Raceway. Grand Prix Raceway was basically the Tomorrowland Speedway times 3 on the track because they had to keep shortening it 3 times. They shortened it for when they were building in Mickey's Toontown Fair, which is kind of like Mickey's Toontown over in California. And then they had to shorten it again when they built in Dumbo. They had to take out a turn. And then they had to shorten it again when Tron was getting constructed. So that poor thing has been shortened so many times, but it's still kicking as the oldest attraction in Tomorrowland. And here's why it wasn't Carousel of Progress. Carousel of Progress was made for the 1964 World's Fair. And because Magic Kingdom opens in 1971, logic says that is older than the park. True in the sense that the animatronics might be older and the materials made to make those animatronics might be older. However, when Carousel of Progress came to Magic Kingdom, it had a different script than the 1964 World's Fair, and the one that it had at Disneyland, it had a different song than it had when it was at Disneyland as well. Because General Electric at the time didn't want people to buy things tomorrow. You know, there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. They wanted to buy them today. And so instead they came out with this song. They had the Sherman Brothers write the song, Now is the Time. Now is the best time. Now is the best time of your life. You can still hear that song in Tomorrowland on the loop. But because that, and it also rotated the other way. So because of all that, it's not the same attraction. And it also opened in 1975. Coincidentally, on the same day Space Mountain opened. So that's why I said it wasn't the same. It also opened several years after Tomorrowland Speedway had been open. That's why I put there, which was the oldest ride in Tomorrowland. So fun fact, that was one of the quiz answers. That's also why it was kind of hard. But again, I mean, I might have answered Carousel of Progress too on that one too. I get it. Epcot's going to be easier, I promise. Also, just had to shout out, Living with the Land is the #1 favorite ride. It's the best ride in Epcot. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it is, but it is. I mean, it's the best. You get your money's worth for the ride.
Yeah, it's really great, especially if you get a chance to do the tour as well.
Yeah.
Then it feels worth it, and you feel like, wow, I'm learning a lot about herbology.
I mean, the whole point of Epcot was to learn, right? Learn stuff, right? And so Living with the Land, you learned a ton of stuff about, gardening and plants and how it's going. So, all right. Michelle says Soarin' is her favorite ride at Epcot.
Which also, I realized, well, actually the last time I went to Epcot was the Art Festival. when we went with Aaron and we saw the new short shows that came out.
Then we got Paige O'Hara's autograph.
Yeah, that was the last time I ever went to Epcot.
That was a good time.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see these shows again.
What would you say is your favorite ride at Epcot?
Honestly, Test Track has always been my favorite. Like, whenever I didn't start work yet and I had a change of clothes, I actually would just go into Epcot, go on Test Track, like single rider line, because you can just walk in.
Yeah.
And then I'd be done. But yeah, Test Track is probably one of my favorites. Of course, I love Soarin'. Of course, I love Frozen Ever After. But yeah, I don't know. Test Track is just so cool to me.
Makes sense. Let's see here. Thank you, Emily, for saying have fun. Appreciate that. Yeah, your free Disney Plus subscription is running out soon. You're gonna miss the rights of Mandalorian. Honestly, just get it for a month. That would be my advice. It's like $5.99. You know, it's a very affordable. I'd say honestly, Disney Plus is the better streaming service out there. Like, it's just really is. Like, we use it so much. We got Netflix just for a little bit, but even then, there would be nights where even though we have Netflix, we use Disney Plus.
Yeah, there's just so much wholesome content to find at Disney Plus, and like I've never grown tired of a show to watch. There's always something to watch. Like, we actually just finished the Animal Kingdom.
Magic of Animal Kingdom
show.
They need to make it a second season.
That was good. Of course, after COVID, or even like while the shutdown was happening, like, well, how are they taking care of the animals? I wish they could have done that. That would have been cool.
Like a special episode.
Mm-hmm.
At least, yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff on Disney Plus. I feel like I was the ultimate marketer for Disney Plus because I kept saying it's a Netflix killer. It's the thing that's going to kill Netflix. I still am a very firm believer of that, especially because they're pumping out all this cool new original content that's really, really good. Like, really good stuff. The right stuff, again, can't highly recommend that enough. Magic of Animal Kingdom, Mandalorian, super, super cool. I remember when The Mandalorian first came out, you weren't super big into Star Wars. You hadn't seen all the movies.
Yeah.
But you knew Baby Yoda, and so you wanted to watch The Mandalorian for Baby Yoda. And that's kind of what brought you in. What are your thoughts on The Mandalorian now that you're watching it? Now that you've seen all the movies.
Yeah. I still love Baby Yoda. Sometimes it's just me watching it and like thinking of little kids. I'm like, don't do that. Like, why are you doing that, Baby Yoda? You're cute, but you shouldn't do that. But yeah, it's really good. I like where season 2 is going. There's still a lot of stuff even though I've seen everything, I still realize how I don't understand a lot of like, oh, who's that? Like, I don't remember this character. But yeah, other than that, it's going pretty well. And
yeah, I love
I
it.
like it.
I love that it just keeps getting better. Let's see here. How many guests can you bring in with you to Legoland?
Actually, it's 20 per year. So actually, coming at the end of this year, we technically have 20 tickets now. We would have to be used by the end of the year.
So if you guys want to come down, let me know.
Come to Legoland.
Let us know. We'll get you in. Let's see here. Everyone's just talking about Soarin'. And
I think
is that Tower of Terror resort budgeting or
no Test Track?
Test Track. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Also, the Three Caballeros. I have to shout it out every time we talk about Epcot. That will always, always, always be good. So,
which definitely will highlight our trip to Epcot after it's been so long since we went post-pandemic.
Speaking of, I think that's a good place to start dovetailing this thing up. We've been talking a lot. My voice is getting shot, and we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow, and so we want to make sure we're all rested for that, especially because tomorrow's our first day off in a little bit. So we're really excited, and we're excited to go back to Disney. It's always such a great day when we go back to Disney. So I'm not sure if we're going to be vlogging tomorrow about Epcot. We're going to be with some friends, and I think about vlogging nowadays, it's hard for me, you know. I want to be able to enjoy it, you know. So when we go back to Epcot without our friends, because we will probably eventually, I might vlog then. But as of right now, I think we're just going to enjoy tomorrow. we'll see. We'll see.
We'll post photos.
We'll see. We'll post
People
photos.
us on Instagram, you'll, I'm sure, see it.
Yeah. But we can't thank you guys enough for watching. If you'd like to contact us or, ask us questions further, please feel free to do so on our Instagrams. I feel like I have mine in the description below. I always forget these things. It's been a while since I've done this. But we can't thank you guys all enough for watching and just staying tuned into this and asking us questions about Legoland. We can't say enough good things about Legoland. We really do like being there. We really do like being a part of it. We love being able to make magic again, even if it's for a different company and it's for a different park.
But either way, the magic is still the same wherever you go. And it's not about who or what you're doing to bring the magic. It's about the lives you touch. And so I hope that this was able to give you guys a good insight of our adventures at Legoland and being able to share the magic, which we all need a little magic in each one of us. So go and make someone stay a little bit magical.
Exactly. And I think I can't end that better. So we can't thank you guys enough for coming in again. And I'm sure we'll have to do another reevaluation soon. Next time, I'm sure I'm going to upload something within the next couple weeks, hopefully. But again, we can't thank you guys enough for your support. And it's just so awesome to have you guys as our friends. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time. But until that time, guys.
We'll see you real soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.